All right, welcome back. We're in the studio again, another late night session. Gonna just give some thoughts on this Epstein shit going on at the moment. So, obviously, we know we haven't got the files yet, or what we have got is a bunch of retard influencers given essentially a binder with no information, no new information, or any helpful information to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein files. What was actually in those files, funny enough, was a letter from Pam Bondi that so the influencers showed up to the White House. They have this meeting with Pam Bondi. They hand out these binders, and they obviously they kind of open the binders and go through them a little bit. And there was a letter in each one, and it was the same letter from Pam. It was the letter that Pam Bondi sent to Kash Patel at the FBI. And essentially, I'm going to try to find it real quick. I should have found it before I got on. But essentially, it's her saying, grow some fucking balls. And if you, well, don't figure this out, then she's going to take it into her own hands. I'm not sure she has that power. There's actually some sketchy shit in her past regarding Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't even know if we can trust her at the moment. But uh, essentially, what it comes down to is like, if any names, any documents, any information related to, well, unknown evidence or anything to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein files once and for all, to get to expose the whole truth, you cannot have any names, any countries, any documentation, any files redacted. You need the full transparency and you need to release the full extent of the files and knowledge of the people involved. If people are redacted, if countries are redacted and left out of this, then it's a total failure, and that gets us nowhere. There's a zero benefit that can come from that, regardless of who they show. If anyone gets redacted, it's immediately off the table, and it honestly will probably never get another chance to really get to the bottom of this whole Jeffrey Epstein situation. This is probably the last chance before it gets pretty much not swept under the rug, but kind of just archived, and people will really then forget about it. We won't even. Not only will people for just completely forget about it, all the progressive retards will, and all the ignorant dipshits will. But the people that have been investigating it for so long, Whitney Webb, Ian Carroll, um, and a bunch of other people. I mean, obviously they're still going to think about it, but it won't be able to be brought up again because it'll be case closed. So if any names are redacted, any countries are redacted, any information left out is a failure at this point because it means that we never got the whole truth behind the whole situation. And well, that means essentially that whoever was redacted or whoever was left out or whatever information was left out, those activities, those crimes are probably going to still continue and they're going to be carried out by those people, the same people that were redacted and the same people that were left out of the files. And so that's why it's a total failure, regardless of who gets exposed. If anyone's redacted, any names or countries, it's off the table. It doesn't matter anymore. And it'll be the last shot we have to actually expose this case to its full extent. And so let me get this. Pam Bondi letter. Alright. So Attorney General Pam Bondi reveals in a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel that the FBI is withholding Jeffrey Epstein documents from her. Yeah, that could mean several things. It can mean Kash Patel actually is facing he's facing a degree of opposition and non-cooperation from the FBI that he naively naively just thought he was going to get. It can mean that, or it can mean that he is somehow trying to help the cover up that's going on, which is why we haven't got the files yet, the full extent of the files, not some fucking binder where influencers look like look like it's a day of celebration, looking like it's fucking 4th of July on a day where they were just given binders of children getting raped, and they're up there smiling like it's fucking their first day of school with their binders, like a bunch of fucking idiots. But yeah, so I guess to them it's oh me, I get to expose the Jeffrey Epstein files. I'm so, oh, look at me, I'm at the White House. I got to go to a meeting with Pam Bondi. And mind you, Pam Bondi said before they all left the White House, when you guys are walking out, because obviously there's going to be press and people around and reporters and other scum fucking journalists that know absolutely nothing but how to, well, suck Harvey Weinstein's dick or, kiss anyone on The View's asshole. So yeah, you're gonna have reporters, and so when they immediately walked out, yes, people were like, "Hey, what's in your hand?" Or they're yelling shit out, trying to talk to the influencers that just received these binders, that just were asked to come to the White House for this meeting. And then you have some of the dumbasses fucking holding the binders up and smiling, holding a binder up, revealing information regarding children being raped by adults, smiling like it's their first day of fucking school. Yeah, good for you guys. Good for you. And a lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, a good amount of these people too that received books, the binders, are either Jewish themselves or Zionists themselves or somehow beholden to Israel and their cause while not actually being Jewish. You see that a lot of the people make this little influencer group up. Some of them are pretty good reporters and influencers and are kind of digging for the truth. But most of them, and the ones you see holding up the binders, are going to be people that will help in the cover up. And they're also people that haven't um, stated to the public where their allegiance lies regarding the United States or a foreign entity like Israel. People like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and pretty much anyone from the Daily Wire besides Matt Walsh has made a public statement as to where their true allegiance lies. And they live in America and they say they're American. Jordan Peterson's coming over from Canada trying to live here. They say they're American, but why does their loyalty seem to reside with Israel in how they speak and how they act? And why haven't they made a public statement? All we're asking is for a public statement saying if this is really the big question, and this goes for not only the people at the Daily Wire just mentioned, but there's so many more that are just either Jewish or Zionist themselves, or don't ascribe to a religion or ascribe to another religion, but are like fully loyal to Israel's cause in the situation. And these people haven't made any public acknowledgments as to where their allegiance lies or their loyalty lies. And so all we're asking right here is if there are redacted names, and those names are Israeli or Israeli people, whether they are in our government or they're part of the Israeli government, or they're Israeli or they're Jewish people, or anyone to do with Israel in general. That's basically the crux of it. If any of the redactions are individuals or information relating to Israel, or they're individuals connected to Israel, are these individuals that I just mentioned, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, a bunch of the Daily Wire, all these other influencers, are you going to be okay with that? Will you still go along with that to release the rest of the files? Even if they say you have only under one condition is that these must be redacted, these names and this information. And if that's related to Israel, will these people still go through with this release of the Jeffrey Epstein files and be morally okay with those redactions? If they say yes, that means that their loyalty is to Israel. That's what they're saying. That's why none of these people have acknowledged or even attempted to answer this question. It seems that everyone supporting these people have acknowledged that there are loyalties with Israel because that's what these very influential people are telling people to do. They have people believing in the cause of Israel and stating that their loyalty is with Israel, but we haven't heard any of these actual people that have high level positions, whether in the country, in the government, in the intellectual communities, whatever it is. They haven't acknowledged where their loyalty lies yet. And I mean, maybe that's because it doesn't lie with the country they're residing in at the moment. And it might reside with a country that we're told is our greatest ally, but wants to redact information out of these files in which one of their intelligence agents blackmailed essentially the majority of our they blackmailed and compromised the majority of our government officials that have very influential positions. And they've even had people working for their country, fill some of these positions in government. So, uh, this entity, Israel, who's supposed to be our greatest ally, we're going to be okay with redacting the information connecting them, whether it's information of what happened or the actual individuals involved, because, well, that's our greatest ally. But our greatest ally sent their intel agent over here to blackmail and compromise our most powerful and influential people, by providing the biggest child sex trafficking ring ever known in human history, and it took place in the United States. If this was any other country, that's an act of war. That was, like Ian Carroll said, if that's Iran, we would have fucking leveled them already. We would have made. You think Gaza looks bad? If Iran was doing what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, and we found that out, those none of that would be redacted. We would be given that the next day, and then that place would look that place would make Gaza look like a fucking playground. So, I mean, that's what we would do if it was another country besides Israel. If that was, I mean, we'd start war with China if that was Russia most likely. Definitely anywhere in the Middle East except one place where Dan Bongino or Bongino, whatever his name is, clearly indicated was where Jeffrey Epstein was working, but won't actually state that country, which is Israel. He said it was some country in the Middle East he was working as an intelligence asset. That's essentially what Dan Bongino was saying. So, I mean, what country is that? Is it Iran? Was Jeffrey Epstein Iranian intelligence? Are you serious? Like, weapons of mass destruction. They couldn't even fly fucking helicopters. But this is the thing. If these influencers are going to continue to release and cooperate with the government to release these files with the knowledge of the redactions being connected to Israel, that's you can't believe anything that they say. Even if they release files that show truth, so you still can't believe what they're saying because they redacted information, and now the information they redacted is the ally that we're going to be paying our tax money to blow up children and women. So, and do whatever they want. And that's because they've sexually blackmailed our whole government in some type of organized child sex trafficking ring started by Jeffrey Epstein, which would be an act of war if it was any other country that did that to us on our turf. But because it's Israel for some reason, and they have people involved with their country that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, that we are not allowed to know. And so, yeah, Kash Patel, his wife, there is information, there are rumors, but there is like some information pointing towards her being essentially a Mossad spy. So that's weird, okay? That's fucking weird. To go back to Pam Bondi, we have her. So let me read this letter, though, that she sent, and then we'll go into her background a little bit. But so she sent this letter, or she put this letter in each of the binders that she gave out, and during their meeting before they left the White House, before they talked to reporters and whatnot, they had this meeting, which Pam Bondi specifically told those influencers, when you leave, don't talk to reporters, just get in your cars and go, and don't release anything until 3 p.m. But then you had the fucking dipshits running out of the White House with their fucking, I mean, they were chubbed up for this shit. So this was the best day for them was literally showing the world that they had binders containing containing files related to child rape, and they were just so ecstatic about it, which is just insane to think about to begin with. But she told them no releasing it till 3, and also she had added this letter into it. And what this letter was basically, I'm gonna read it right now, and then we can kind of interpret it, I guess. But she goes, "Dear," it's a letter, it's an email she had written, or a letter to Cash Patel that she showed them. She put in each binder to let them know and show her, or show everyone there, all the influencers, that she has reached out and this is the next step. And so what it says is, dear Director Patel, before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated request, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients. Regardless of how such information was obtained, there will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your success, or to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to transparency for the American people, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country. Okay, so first, yeah, we want all the documents and files, but don't release, I would say, the videos and the audio recordings. Yeah, release those. I think it's safe to say that the public is okay with not getting the video evidence released. I think we're okay not seeing that. I don't think people actually want to view actual child sexual abuse and torture. You guys can save that for yourselves to look through. The public doesn't need to see that. That's not something for the public. I would not do that because there are still fucking weirdos out there. So I would say release everything but that. You guys deal with that little fraction of the files. Also, so the reason she probably told those influencers not to make a scene when they leave the White House with the reporters is because, well, the it created an uproar among the online community in which we might have not known the whole reason for this White House meeting and these influencers getting the binders. Now I think we can fucking read, okay? I mean, there's some retards out there that can't, but the majority of the public can read and interpret information just fine on their own. So I don't think we need influencers at all. Just put the shit on Twitter, let us fucking read it. Okay? But since it happened, there might have been I don't know what's going on in the White House right now and who's really telling who what to do. But this letter signifies something. It's almost like she's telling the influencers, "Hey, this is the next step. This is why we haven't been able. There's going to be redaction." She's basically said in this letter that she knows there's a bunch of information redacted, And I think she was trying to imply to the influencers given these binders, hey, I'm sorry. I told you we were gonna have these files ready. This is what I have now. Uh, but this is the next step, and I am going to get the full extent of this case and situation into your hands. And this was kind of her way of showing that she's put that into action. And that's what I think it was intended to be, was like, hey, Pam Bondi was saying, I know they're fucking lying. I know they're fucking lying to me. I know they were uh, permanently destroying evidence, redacting information. That's why it took so long. That is not what I requested. They went against my orders. And this is what I'm going to do. This is the next step. But for right now, this is all we can do at the moment. And that's probably why she was like, hey, don't release any information until 3 p.m. so we can kind of, weather the reaction of the public and kind of steer this in the right direction. But instead, you had these stupid fucking idiots that just, these are the ones that you just, got fucking butternecked in high school at lunch, just fucking, everyone just walk up and fucking butterneck them. No one wanted to listen to them. No one, they wanted to be one of the cool kids, because all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. This is no different than what Mark Zuckerberg's doing. Like, tech, being a tech bro and being one of these dudes in Silicon Valley that, you know, literally just some of the most repulsive individuals. But this is the direction of humans, and is technology. And, well, this is the age of technology, so that's the way we're going. And so inevitably, the tech bros and the Silicon Valley dudes, they fell into the position of being the cool kids now in school, and the cool kids that are among the groups of power. And like before that, they're all just fucking dweebs. And Mark Zuckerberg was pretty much just had the appearance of the most dweebiest person, just essentially the spitting image of a tech bro, up until last year or this year, and he changed his whole image. That's because he realizes, because he has this same trait of just like migrating towards the cool kids and trying to fit in, because he never had that opportunity uh back whenever he was in school. I don't know where he went to school. I know he went to Harvard a little bit, but I think that's why he's this whole change in image, which is just so, cringe to see. That's why it happened. And so he never had that. He's never part of the fucking cool kid group in high school or college. And now that the the demeanor and being a tech bro and in Western society is the thing to be. It's where the cool kids are now. It's where the presidents want to hang out. It's the people Joe Rogan are having on his podcast. All these, and so they are the cool kids. And so Mark Zuckerberg's like, oh, what I'm good at, my profession, that's the cool thing now. And so he changed his whole look, trying to fit in with, like, guys that would be alpha to him. And it's just the weirdest thing to see. And he just did that whole performance for his wife. I forgot what song. And he was just wearing, the costume was so faggy. Ugh. But to get back to these files, this is what the influencers were like. They never had a fucking social circle that was stable, or even, I guess, took them in high school, in college, and they always tried so fucking hard, so desperately to, let me get in there. Let me get in there. Let me shotgun a beer with you. And well, now they're part of this very select group of influencers that are essentially the cool kids, because the Epstein case and the release of the files are what's in right now. It's what everyone's involved in right now if you have any fucking brain. And so same energy. And that's what I think this letter was telling him. Don't fucking go, and because if you go out there right now and just hold the binder up, it says Epstein files on it, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this? And so it stirs up this whole reaction among the public, and it's hard to weather where it's going to go. But if you wait till 3 p.m., they kind of have a plan. Also, when you look at Pam Bondi's past with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, though, you see that she actually worked in Florida before she filled this position she's in. And so when you think about Jeffrey Epstein, what comes to mind when you think about Florida? Well, that's where he had one of his residences. That's also where he was first arrested before the second time, where he was actually put in jail and then killed himself. And he's not actually dead, in my opinion, but we'll see. I'm a quack until I have more evidence. But just mark my words, that guy is. He was much more he was much more powerful than we think, especially powerful among our greatest ally. He's very important regarding the information he had and knew. And so I think if he was killed, it'd be more plausible a foreign government did it. Maybe if it was us, it was definitely the Clintons or whoever was getting their names redacted, or he got snuck out and he's chilling right now somewhere, but he'll be back. Maybe they fucking broke him out of that jail and fucking put him right back in a position that he was in. But when you think about Florida, that's where he was operating one of his residents, or that's where, I mean, operating one of his operations. That's where he had a residence, one of many, and that's also where he was arrested his first time and then put in jail for like a sentence that you would get for fucking jaywalking. But uh yeah, he in the jail he was staying in was essentially fucking a La Paloma or Ventana or any of these five-star. It was a fucking Ritz Carlton essentially, and he could work. He could have visitors all the time. He could definitely had a phone, dude. I one of my family members was literally just got out of not prison but jail, and he was in there for maybe like 5 years, maybe it was less than that. It was at least 3 to 5 years, and well, he did nothing to learn from it. But what I learned from his whole experience is his lazy fucking ass was given a phone, or I don't know if it was given. He had a phone and he could call whenever. He could literally call whoever whenever he wanted, and he just became the most annoying rat ever. But I mean, so not even, it's not hard, I mean, it's not gruesome, brutal, uh situations when you go into jail. I mean, it's not good or great in any sense. It's not, but it's not what you would think. Now there are some prisons and jails that are just quite disgusting, but you see these in a lot of big cities where the jails are overpopulated. But think about if I knew someone that was getting luxuries like that in prison or jail, especially when they were in they were locked up for shit they know they did. Um, you don't think that someone like Epstein is not gonna? You think he's gonna have a hard time in jail? You think he kept working? He had like this whole library that he could go to every day. Um, I'm sure he could ask the guard to take me outside. I'm sure he ate fine. He had visitors. He had a phone, obviously. If he wanted drugs, he could have had drugs. But he'd probably rather have kids, smuggled in. I mean, what does it mean too when they let him keep working? He was a financier. He was masked as a financier. I mean, when you let him keep working from jail, is he literally running a fucking? He's probably still running this huge sex trafficking network, global network, implicating the most powerful people in several countries, especially our country, very powerful countries. And he's probably doing it from jail. And so, yeah, let me go. So, picked up, this was the first time, and the guy, remember, shit, I want to go over, before we do that, here, let's go. So, what was his name? Jeffrey Epstein, Florida. So I'll go Jeffrey Epstein, because the guy that Trump ended up putting, the guy that Trump, not elected, what am I saying, appointed as the attorney general for him, was the one that actually was the one that took the case regarding Jeffrey Epstein's first arrest, and then he let him off with this like very lenient sentence and was like, essentially, it's above my pay grade. I was told what to do. I didn't have a choice. And when the CIA comes to your door, Mossad, or together they come, and they tell you to do something, regardless of who you are, right now, if the CIA or Mossad came to you came in your room one night and they told you what you're gonna do, you wouldn't say no. You wouldn't say, none of us would say no. I mean, you'd have to say, kill me, but yeah, so we'd have to, maybe we would. I mean, maybe some of us would. I probably would. I'd be like, fuck it, you're scumbags. And then, but that's the last breath you're taking. And so think about these people. He's got appointed as the attorney general for Trump. He was probably on his, he's probably up and coming uh, as this young, prominent lawyer. And, when the CIA or Mossad comes and says, this is above your pay grade, you're going to fucking do what we tell you. And you know that there's important positions that you could fill coming up, you might just comply with these intel agencies. And so what was that guy's name? All right, let's see. I've been watching fucking White Lotus, and I'm on season 2, and bro, I mean, I don't give a fuck about the wokiness of seeing it. I kind of like it. It actually represents what the wokeism virus is, or essentially no, it actually is. It's woke, but it's just it's how the elite left acts, and that's not all the characters or all the scenes, but there are those very wokey scenes. But it's just essentially what you would actually see from these very wokey, high profile elite leftists. And also, I just love that. I love that it's a new country each time and new characters. I mean, that blonde lady, I forget her name already. She's in both seasons so far. I haven't started the third yet. But my favorite thing about it, honestly, is the theme song. That shit, dude, every fucking time. It's the only one I don't hit fucking skip intro on. And every time that shit drops, the first one, the Hawaiian one with the drums, and then the Italian one next, and dude, I fucking started getting down to that shit. I started actually thinking I'm fucking rolling. Like, that just fucking double drop right now? Just fucking, no, no, no. Just about to watch 30 minutes of fucking essentially soft porn is what White Lotus is. But no, I like it. It's good. It's good. I actually think, objectively, as far as production goes, it's what might be the best produced show of all time. It's with the theme song, the storylines, like the quality, the actors. I really the style. I like it. So I don't give a fuck about woke shit as long as it doesn't seem like DEI wokey. It's not like DEI wokeism where it's like these actors suck, they shouldn't be in this, they chose the wrong people. No, it's like the real wokey shit, and it's like that's actually what you would see in public or if you went to places like this. So I fuck with it. But yeah, to get back, we have what was his name? I wish I could have his oh. Oh. I just wanted the lawyer's name, but I don't know if we're gonna get it. I fucking forgot his goddamn name. Oh, Alexander Acosta. Okay, so Alexander Acosta, here we go. So when asked why he gave Jeffrey Epstein a non-prosecution deal in 2007, former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta said that he had been told to back off, that Epstein was above his pay grade. I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. So that's interesting to say the least. And well, so after being asked that, it even goes further. So I guess here's some more information. Epstein was literally telling people he worked for the government. Remember when he found out Diddy was being protected by the feds because he was blackmailing and filming prominent figures in the music industry? Epstein was Diddy times 1,000, but with his own occult island. So yeah, so you had this guy that was like, it's like the Charles Manson thing. The LAPD was just letting him in and out of jail. They were picking him up all the time for these crimes he was committing around town. And someone from a higher organization would always come in and just take him right out. He was on parole and literally went to Mexico with his fucking PO, who's Jolly West, head of MK Ultra. But this, I mean, so you have this guy that this is basically akin to that situation with Charles Manson. Is that he's like, LAPD was like, it was above our pay grade. We had to let him go. They came and got him. And so he was like, I want a future, or to, I'm looking at what's the best thing to do for my future to remain in the direction it's going, or remain on the path that it seems to be going down. And it would be to comply with these intelligence agencies. And so he complied. And Jeffrey Epstein was given that no prosecution deal in 2007. And then he gets picked up in 2019. But the thing is, Pam Bondi was also in Florida during these times. And you find out that, so Ryan Mata, who has done excellent documentaries on the child sex trafficking that's going on, especially on the border. And he's exposed a lot. And I think he has another documentary coming out soon. And so this is a tweet he put out showing some information regarding Pam Bondi. And it says, wait a minute. Pam Bondi was the AG of Florida when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested again on July 6, 2019. On federal charges for sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. What role did Pam Bondi play in the Epstein cover-up in Florida? So that's weird, right? She was the attorney general during that. So she puts this letter in these binders, and that kind of makes me more optimistic as to where her plan to get the full extent of the files and to give full transparency to the public regarding these files. I want to be optimistic because of that letter and I guess what seems to be her I don't know, passion to get these out, or drive. It seems like uh a very important thing for her to get done. Seems like what she is like most passionate about right now. And well, that makes you optimistic, but when you see information like this, you realize that she might have been part of the cover-up in 2007 when he first got picked up. It makes you think, is she Israeli intelligence? Is she an asset? Is she compromised? I don't know. I don't know. Is she loyal to people is she loyal to people that need to be redacted? Is she loyal to foreign entities that need to be redacted? I don't know. Was she sent here for that reason? Is she just kind of popped out of nowhere, right? No one really knew Pam Bondi was before. I didn't, and she kind of came out of nowhere. And so it's kind of odd too if you really think about it. And I don't know if we've heard her publicly state where her loyalty and allegiance lies regarding the United States and Israel. If and there's only one question you need to ask these people: Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino. So Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. Who else? All these influencers that are Jewish and Zionist, admittedly, all these people, all they need to do is answer one question to fulfill this basically need from the public to feel secure and feel that they're going to act in our best interest for our country, and that would mean to give us full transparency of these files. There's one question that needs to be asked. If the files have redacted information regarding individuals and countries involved, and those individuals in the country so if those individuals are from Israel, or the country involved, one of the countries involved is Israel, will you still be okay with the redactions, and will you be satisfied with the files released with the knowledge of those redactions being information related to Israel, or people connected to Israel, or people that are Jewish or Israeli? That's the only question. If they say yes, You're okay? Then they just told you and confirmed where their loyalty lies. And Ben Shapiro is probably one of the sketchier people with this. But if they say yes to that, I'm okay with the redactions. I'll see what they give me. Okay. Well, then you just stated that your loyalty is not with the United States, and those people should honestly go fucking move. Like Ian Carroll said, you guys should fucking move to Israel then. You guys should literally move there. That's where your allegiance lies. That's weird. I mean, that's odd that they're living here, and there's people in positions of government and other positions of immense power that have uh that will never go against Israel. They have given them their full loyalty, or they're directly connected to Israel. So that wouldn't make sense. And if they say they're okay with that, then we have our answer to that question. If they say no, then you have that answer to the question. And if the influencers that have these binders say no, that would be the real fucking game changer. Because then it's like, we're not releasing this shit until you give us the full extent. No redactions, the full uncensored everything uh, regarding these files. Nothing redacted, regardless of who's implicated. Because if because essentially what happened here with Epstein, what Epstein did and who Epstein was, that was an act of war on our country. And if it was any other country, we would have had full transparency. We would have had every single file related to it already out to the public, and we would have already fucking made that place, well, Gaza 2.0. That's what that would have been. So I that's why it's so important that we don't go forward if they decide to redact information regarding the countries and people involved that are connected to the United States. Very deeply connected. And at the highest levels of power. And well, if we just go through this and they give us the information and the files that with redacted information, I mean, then we have lost the ability to ever reopen this case or even attempt to probably get this information again. It'll probably be the last chance we have to kind of expose this fucking expose the largest child sex trafficking network to ever happen. It'll be the last chance, because then after, once we accept the files, and given they have redacted information, we still accepted them, and now, well, that fulfills the requirement of the Jeffrey Epstein exposure, essentially. I mean, that basically says we've accepted it, and it will never, I mean, we'll never be able to kind of go after this whole situation again. And because what it means is the people redacted, countries and individuals, if the people left out and the countries left out, will just continue to engage in the same activities and probably engage to keep doing whatever they're doing to America or in America. And that means that nothing was really exposed then and nothing really changed. And children will still inevitably suffer now. And, well, the only way that we could actually be satisfied with the Jeffrey Epstein case and the files is if they're full if the full case and every single document and piece of information, individual and country, uh, you know, actual crimes, recordings, whatever. The only way we can be satisfied is if we get full transparency on everything, and every individual country is included, no matter who it is. If we get that, then that is a game changer, and that allows us to take this further into the fucking. It allows us to take this fucking thing to the. We get to the bottom of it. We get to finish this, very weird thing that happened. Very odd thing the United States stumbled over years ago that was swept under the rug and almost kind of destroyed. And we're given this last chance. We're given this last little spark with this new administration and the people being appointed to really do justice for this, for the people that were involved, yeah, victim wise, the people involved. We get to do them justice, and we get to do justice and to the people that committed these crimes, and we get to, we get to make things right, essentially. But we'll see. Those are my thoughts on that. And I don't know. I guess we'll be back sometime this week with another episode. Uh, I'll probably do some more information regarding this case because I don't know. This is going to keep going, and we're not going to stop. But we can't accept files with redacted information. That's a non-negotiable. If there's any redacted information, I'm thinking most of the influencers are going to be okay with it because a lot of them are already Jewish or Zionist themselves or have said they're loyal to it. But a lot of them haven't too. But I think we'll get their answers soon. And it's up to the people to decide where this goes, and we don't accept the release of those files with redacted information. And we have to push back against it. We cannot accept those and be like, oh yeah, Stephen Hawking, fucking astrophysicist. Yeah, we're going to Mars. God's not real. Yeah, God's not real. Why do you look like that? Why did that happen at 21? There's no fate. God does not decide fate. Everything. Yeah. Well, I guess that. So yeah, that was just your fucking. That was random. I think that when you mock God, like Stephen Hawking did, I think God goes, "Oh, I'm gonna make you look like a fucking puddle of water, dude. I'm gonna turn you into a literal spider that I threw my chancla at." He literally is like, all right, fate is wrong, God is not real, and God was like, no, you are a spider that got swatted off the wall, but you are an 8-legged freak. I'm an astrophysicist. Okay, dude, no physicist on Earth could explain what the fuck you are, dude. That's what Stephen Hawking is. He didn't know a goddamn thing about astrophysics. He knew a whole lot about black midgets on Epstein's Island, though. I'll tell you that. That motherfucker definitely got to Epstein's Island and said, I'm better. That dude. That dude literally grew fucking legs like a lizard's broken off tail. Yeah, he probably honestly, yeah, he probably pulled up his reptilian ass to Epstein Island and he's like a lizard's torn off tail. He probably grew his legs back and I'm better. But also I've been reading 48 Laws of Power. This shit's kind of fucking weak. It's promoted as like some like fucking hardcore shit, I feel like. It's like promoted as Game of Thrones and they gave you like some Wizards of Waverly Place type shit. They literally were like, yeah, it's Game of Thrones, and then you turned it on, it was Wizards of Waverly Place. And Selena Gomez was crying about the Mexicans being deported. And she can't even speak Spanish. But yeah, no. Honestly though, I think it's kind of I just got a couple of other books. This guy that, he's heavily involved in mind control and the information regarding it and the best tactics for it. He's worked with obviously CIA groups, MK Ultra shit. He works with some of the highest level CEOs and entrepreneurs. He works with other leaders, athletes, all across. He's across all industries doing, using these different tactics: hypnosis, mind control, splitting personalities, splitting personalities for negative things and positive things, and so that's some real shit. It's an 800-page book. It's essentially an operation manual, and it was $190. So if a book's ever that expensive, that means there's shit in there there's some knowledge in there that is very, very useful, and sometimes it's knowledge they don't want you to have. And so to get that knowledge, kind of like the universities used to be, you had to pay some good money to go get that knowledge. But now you're like, I'm gonna pay $300,000 to tell you I'm a fucking they. It's Zer. It's Two-Spirit, bitch. Put a fucking litter box in my bathroom. I need to take a shit. That's what you pay tuition now to go learn. So, it's a little bit different now. But some other books I ordered, honestly, this relates to the Jeffrey Epstein shit because it's literally kind of like what exposed most of it and like the actual truth of what was going on and why it was going on. And it was Whitney Webb, one of the best investigative journalists right now, alternative journalist, uh, exposing corruption. And she doesn't have a side. She exposes the fuck out of Trump. She exposes the fuck out of everyone on the left. And she exposes crime and corruption. And essentially, she wrote these two. She wrote a book with 2 volumes. One of the it's called "One Nation Under what is it? Yeah, One Nation Under Blackmail. There's volume 1 and there's volume 2, and it's just essentially goes over the history and with a history of organized crime and sexual blackmail, and how that essentially is kind of running the world right now, and that's kind of how the U.S. has become compromised and basically beholden to foreign entities is through uh, organized crime and blackmail, and that's what Epstein was doing. That's what the Jewish mob is brought up doing, and that's kind of got transferred over to what Mossad does, what the CIA does. It's organized crime, and at the highest level and at the most efficient level of organized crime, it's sexual blackmail, and it's usually when it gets to that level of organized crime, it's usually organized crime or criminals involved with organized crime at that level blackmailing other criminals. And so it creates a situation where the black market becomes actually more powerful than the white market. And that's why we're seeing just, untold corruption, just untold amounts of corruption and criminal activity going on at the highest levels of government. It's because the black market's more it's more powerful than the white market, and that's why you can have Jeffrey Epstein visiting the White House, and you can have presidents and the highest level people and the most powerful people flying out to his private island. They're hanging. I mean, it's just straight black market shit, illegal, corrupt, criminal organizations, and they're more powerful than the legal white market. And that's why you're seeing us now. We're in this huge galaxy, and then we have our little planet. And if you look at that map of like the Milky Way galaxy from, if you look at that from the aerial view, it's like you're that little speck of dust right here in this huge, vast area of space, and you're run by pedophiles. Like that's literally what we're doing. If you look at that aerial view, it's hilarious how small we are and like unimportant and kind of like trivial compared to the universe. And we're sitting there on that little rocks, hurling through space, being run and controlled by fucking pedophiles. It's hilarious. It's fucking ironic. Like, I mean, God plays some funny, ironic jokes sometimes, but so does the fucking devil, it looks like. But yeah, so those are some books I'm getting. Let me look and see what that is. It is. Let's see, operate. It's by Chase Hughes, the Operation Mind Control Manual. But let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna try splitting some fucking personalities. Got to find some suggestive people. Create some. I guess this is what Charles Manson was doing, just creating assassins and fucking on the fly without them even knowing it, just having them fucking go and kill. It's literally Thomas Matthew Crooks or Lee Harvey Oswald or, any of these school shooters. And it seems like they're all MK Ultra. Ted Kaczynski maybe, I don't know. It's really odd. But let's go to my orders. I want to just tell you these books real quick. Okay, so the mind control information book is the Behavioral Ops Manual. NCI, Neurocognitive Intelligence Training Manual. So that's going to be fun by Chase Hughes. And then we have, there's the other one. The 2 volumes of One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. And yeah, that's gonna be a good one too. Or 2 good books. Yeah, can't wait. Because honestly, this one's like I said, I think it was promoted as a nice little rated R intense film, and I got PG. You know, I thought it was Game of Thrones, and I got, like I said, I got fucking Hannah Montana. I got Sweet Life. I thought this shit was fucking White Lotus, and I got Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. But yeah, no, I mean, there's some useful information in here, I guess. But I think those books, One Nation Under Blackmail, and the what is it, the Mind Control Operation Manual. I think those books explain power and control far more than this book does. And this book delves into, it like uses like historical anecdotes, which I know he did a lot of research for the book, but honestly, I think a lot of the history that we read is like, I don't know, it's like almost seems like half truths. Like the best way to get people to believe shit is to throw in a little bit of truth and then lie a fuck ton. And yeah, it just seems, I don't know. Sometimes you're reading, these a lot of these people love to make fun of scripture and religious stories, and you know they love to just kind of mock that. But then when they tell some of these anecdotal historical accounts of people like from the 1500s or even BC era, or even just all these different eras where they were never at. Dude, their stories sound just as fucking hysterical and neurotic as the any religious story. And the religious stories actually, I don't know, they're just much better. It's like Harry Potter is such a great fucking story, and it has more truth in it than most fucking nonfiction films. It's because fiction stories are the easiest way for humans to learn and connect with characters, and so you learn through those characters in the movies, usually fiction movies that are telling a great story. You learn how to navigate the world better. And when you have just the other movies are just like nonfiction ones, and ones without a good story, you're just boring and can't hold the attention. It couldn't even hold the attention of a fucking chimp. So I don't even know if that was a good chimp. Chimp's a fucking retard. But yeah, I honestly, this is yeah, it's all right. I think it's a little bit of, I think it's filled with some retard fuel though for sure, in my opinion. So can't wait to get those other books, because those books contain information that I feel is much more useful to get where this book is trying to get you to, which is to positions of power. I also think those other books I ordered expose a lot more. And regarding what's going on, and if you're not doing this deep research now, you hear these things and they sound like, yeah, they people sound like fucking psychos. But then when you look into the real data and evidence behind these stories, you find out, oh, there's books on this shit. But dude, I don't know, you're flooded with new shit every day. You're just flooded with endless information. We're just, you know, not encouraged. We're like just fucking basically just forced to just keep doing, just stay distracted every day. We got work all day. We got our phones. We got social media. They flood us with new fucking tragic, traumatic stories happening every day. It's like, how do you even remember something like Jeffrey Epstein? That's why it's so important that we fucking take this last chance and do what we can with it. So, all right, I'm out though. Until next time, peace.